You've probably seen the pictures, right? Those absolutely stunning mountain views, the peaceful monasteries. But beyond all that, Ladakh is a land of incredible extremes, of amazingly resilient people, and honestly, it's of critical global importance. So in this explainer, we're going to go past the postcards and try to understand the real land of high passes.
The name itself tells you almost everything you need to know. Ladakh, or Ladaghs. It literally means the land of high passes. And these passes, they aren't just geographical features on a map. They are the very soul of this region. They shape its history, its people, and its strategic importance today.
So to really get Ladakh, you have to start with the land itself. And let me tell you, it's a place of unbelievable scale and just brutal extremes. Let's just try to wrap our heads around the scale for a second. We're talking about over 59,000 square kilometers. That makes it India's single largest union territory. But here's the paradox. For all that massive space, it is one of the most sparsely populated places on Earth. It is a land of vast, breathtaking, and incredibly rugged emptiness. And the reason for that emptiness? Well, it's a high-altitude, cold desert. I mean, think about this. In the winter, temperatures can just plummet to a bone-chilling -40 Celsius. Then, for a very brief, intense summer, they can soar right past 30. To survive here means you have to adapt to one of the most extreme climates imaginable. So this whole landscape is built on what you could call a massive geographic skeleton. You have the Karakoram and Himalayan ranges. They're like the backbone. Then you have these lifeline rivers, like the Indus, that carve arteries through these super deep valleys. And then you have the high-altitude lakes, and of course, the passes. They act like the joints. They're critical gateways that can also be just formidable barriers.
So you have to wonder, right? What kind of people not only survive in a land like this, but actually manage to build a thriving culture? Okay, let's meet the people of the passes. Get this. About 5 people per square kilometer. Just try to imagine that. A tiny community scattered across a landscape that could swallow entire cities. That kind of isolation, it fosters this incredible sense of interdependence and resilience. You have to rely on your neighbors. You just have to. And that community is split almost down the middle between 2 major religious groups. The Leh district is majority Tibetan Buddhist, while the Kargil district is majority Shia Muslim. This geographic and religious distinction is absolutely fundamental to understanding modern Ladakh's politics and its culture. You have to keep it in mind. So this distinction basically gives Ladakh 2 hearts, Leh and Kargil. They even serve as dual capitals, Leh in the summer, Kargil in the winter. Each has its own very distinct identity, its own local governing council. It really reflects the region's internal diversity.
Okay, so how does daily life, the culture, the economy, how does it all actually work in such a unique, high-altitude place? The economy really rests on 4 key pillars. You've got the traditional agriculture, basically squeezing hardy crops like barley into a super short growing season. Then tourism is a massive driver, along with the world-renowned Pashmina wool trade. And finally, because of its strategic location, the government and the military are major employers here. And this is where you really get a sense of that cultural richness. From the vibrant, colorful masked dances you see at the Himis Festival, to the simple warmth of thukpa, noodle soup, you can just see how Ladakhi culture is this beautiful tapestry woven from its Buddhist roots and its deep, deep connection to the land. But there is another side to Ladakh's identity. We kind of have to shift our focus now from its internal life to the immense external pressures it faces. Because this remote, beautiful land is also one of the world's most critical geopolitical flashpoints. And here's why this remote land is so incredibly important. For India, Ladakh is way more than a beautiful region. It's a strategic gateway. It's a vital buffer zone. To control these high passes is to control access to Central Asia. And that is a prize that has been contested for decades. And this conflict isn't just theoretical. It's written in a history of very real clashes, from the 1962 war with China over Oxide Chin to the 1999 Kargil war with Pakistan, all the way to the deadly Galwan Valley clash in 2020. This is, hands down, one of the most volatile borders on the entire planet. This is the reality of Ladakh's geography. It is where 3 nuclear-armed neighbors meet. You're bordered by China to the north and east, and by Pakistan-occupied territory to the west.
This is exactly why the Indian Army maintains such a heavy, permanent presence here. For India, security on this frontier is absolutely paramount. So all of this history, it brings us to today. After a huge political change back in 2019 made it a Union territory, Ladakh now finds itself at a real crossroads, trying to navigate a very complex future.
So what does that future look like? Well, internally, there are these big demands for full statehood to protect their unique identity. Externally, that border standoff with China is a constant simmering threat. And all the while, Ladakh is trying to balance this push for development with the absolute need to preserve its fragile ecosystem. It's a tough spot.
And that really leaves us with this final crucial question. It's an incredibly delicate balancing act, right? Between preservation and progress, between ancient traditions and very modern pressures. The path Ladakh chooses isn't just going to define its own future. It's going to have repercussions that echo far beyond its high passes.